Another day, another productive day. But today it was Aidan O'Connell that stepped up and had a lot of success. We're going to get into him. I'm very excited for the news that's coming out of camp. Plus, Maxx Crosby apparently went right at DJ Glaze, and he let DJ Glaze know that he does not stand a chance against Maxx Crosby. And Crosby even looked right at the media and let them know not to disrespect the GOAT. And then we also got an update coming out from Byron Young. He did a presser, and in that presser, I'm not going to lie to you guys, man. I'm rooting for Byron Young, man. Let's get right into this video, starting right away with some quarterback talk. So if you guys have not known already, basically the quarterbacks are swapping every single day. So the last practice, which was 2 days ago, Gardner Minshew took the first team reps. Today, Aidan O'Connell took those first team reps, and Aidan O'Connell apparently looked really, really good. You know what's interesting is there's been reports that Gardner Minshew looked sharper than Aidan O'Connell, right? That was Vic Tafur that put that out there in one of his articles. He said that Gardner Minshew has looked a lot sharper than Aidan O'Connell up to this point. And Aidan O'Connell obviously took that personal, and he came out today and he was firing off the football. He was hitting guys, between double coverage, bracketed coverage. He was getting the ball out, and that was all without Davante Adams. Like, Davante Adams literally was not there today. And Aidan O'Connell still came out, and he still had success. It started in the 7-on-7 drill. The guy that I spoke to specifically said in the 7-on-7 drill specifically, Aidan O'Connell, it seemed like he wanted to push the ball more, and he had this thing to him where it almost seemed like instead of throwing it to the short guy or being a little bit safer, he was being a little bit more aggressive with his passes. And that's a great sign to hear. And it wasn't just in the 7-on-7 that the guy dominated. He did have a couple of really nice passes, including a Trey Tucker touchdown in the end zone. But in the 11-on-11, to start it off, we had our quarterback essentially start with the 2-minute drill, and Aidan O'Connell drove right downfield. Apparently, he hit Jacoby Myers, he hit Trey Tucker, and then finally he hit Brock Bowers for a touchdown. To me, that's what you want to hear. You want to hear that Aidan O'Connell's having success. The worst thing the Raiders could have happened to them is they go into this first preseason game and both quarterbacks fail. Both quarterbacks fail to, really impress. Both quarterbacks don't have success. And then, that ultimately leads to the Raiders, at least for us fans, it makes us feel like there's no hope for this team to have success, right? That's the worst case thing that could happen. And coming into probably the last two days of practice, we had been hearing how the defense has been dominating the offense. But the last 2 to 3 days, that's kind of flipped a little bit. And today, especially, the offense got a ton of wins. Now, the offense did not win the overall day, right? I think there might be a misconception out there that the offense won the overall day. According to the guy that I speak to, and I understand that depending on which reporter you ask, they're all going to kind of tell you something differently, which makes sense, right? Everybody kind of has their own opinion. But the guy that I spoke to specifically said that he does not think that the offense won the overall day. But he did say that he thinks the offense has had more wins today than any other day in the past. In fact, he said from the time that pads first came on a couple days back, he believes that today was the best day. And it's basically only gotten better, right? He said from the first day of pads to the second day to the third day, things have only gotten better and better and better. And that's exactly what you want to hear, right? You want to hear that the Las Vegas Raiders are essentially having more success, because for the Raiders to have success this year, it's going to really come down to those quarterbacks. And Aidan O'Connell was the guy today, man. So I'm very, very excited to kind of hear that this guy's doing his thing. So in the first 11-on-11 2-minute drill, Aidan O'Connell drove right downfield. He scored a touchdown. Gardner Minshew also followed that up with his own drive right downfield, and he also drew a touchdown right after Aidan O'Connell threw a touchdown. So keep in mind, Gardner Minshew's running with the second team unit. His touchdown did come to Trey Tucker. But he is with the second team unit, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. But it does look like Aidan O'Connell had the overall better day, and he even ended the day with a really nice pass. Levi Edwards says one of the last plays of practice, Aidan O'Connell hit wide receiver DJ Turner on a go route on the sideline draped in coverage. And this just kind of goes back to the point that, apparently Aidan O'Connell's being a lot more aggressive. He's throwing into coverage. He's not really scared to he essentially he's not being conservative, right? He's being a little bit more out there with his passes, and I'm glad to hear that, because although Aidan O'Connell started 2 practices ago with the first team unit and he looked better, Gardner Minshew looked a lot better than Aidan O'Connell did, right? Again, Vic Tafur put it out there that Gardner Minshew had looked sharper up to today's practice, right? And that was something that some of the other reporters also kind of put out there. So I'm glad that Aidan O'Connell is having success. And I'm excited to see what ends up happening in the preseason game as we kind of come up. Because I want to see both Aidan O'Connell and Gardner Minshew have success out there. You know, one of the shitty things essentially with preseason, and we saw this in yesterday's Hall of Fame game, is no one is going to run any sort of simulated pressures. No one's going to try to confuse the offensive lineman, drop one guy, come, with the slot off the edge. No one's going to try to, show a cover 3 and then mix it into a cover 6. No one's going to do any of that stuff in preseason. You're not going to see any sort of mixed coverage. So essentially, quarterbacks don't have to read as much, right? Because a lot of what they see pre-snap is what it's going to be post-snap. So a lot of what they're going to essentially do is going to be very, very basic. It's going to be very vanilla. And we know that happens in the preseason. But one of the things I do want to see is these guys dominate the fact that people aren't utilizing all these different things. And more than that, I want to see these guys actually make the right reads and the right throws. And I want to make sure the timing's right. And I think the most important thing that I want to watch is I want to watch both of these quarterbacks extend some plays. 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. Let's see what these guys can do. Let's see what these guys can, how they move essentially as well. Let's go ahead and switch focus. Let's go ahead and get into some blocking. We got Brock Bowers, as well as I believe that's Jalen McKenzie. I'll tell you guys right now in a second. But essentially they're going to be double teaming and they're going to be climbing up to the linebacker. So there you guys have it. Brock Bowers, Jalen McKenzie doing their thing. One of the interesting things that I've noted, and I'm not sure if the Raiders run camp this way, is I've noticed a lot of Brock Bowers lining up with Jalen McKenzie. And Jalen McKenzie, if you guys don't know this, is our number 2 left tackle at the moment, right? In terms of the depth chart. He's our 2nd string left tackle. So I wonder if Brock Bowers at the moment is our 2nd string tight end. And I'm talking about true tight end, right? I'm not talking about the guy that's going into motion, the guy that's going to line up in the slot. Because we know Brock Bowers is going to be the number 1 guy essentially to do that. But what I'm saying is if the Raiders have 3 true wide receivers out there, they have 1 tight end, 1 running back, is it going to be Brock Bowers or is it going to be Michael Mayer? Because Brock Bowers lining up with Jalen McKenzie would tell me he's the number 2 guy. Now, again, do keep in mind, I don't know if they're running these drills knowing that, hey, you're the 2nd team unit and the 2nd team unit, we're going to have you guys working together, or if it's just like a random pairing. I don't really know, but it's going to be interesting for sure as we kind of get into it. There's one more. It's essentially the same exact thing. I can get Harrison Bryant here. And essentially him, the left tackle on this one, is like the 3rd string unit, I guess, at this point, are basically going to do the same exact thing. They're going to end up double teaming. And essentially they're running the same exact drill, right? So nothing crazy. Same thing, once again. Pretty nice drill, man. At this point, there's not a whole lot of videos to really get into. I think we're at the point where most of these videos is basically the same stuff over and over and over again, right? But I will say this. We had a Maxx Crosby mic'd up moment that just dropped. And in that mic'd up moment, we got a ton of footage coming out. We got a lot of Maxx Crosby going up against Thayer Munford, against DJ Glaze. We got some drills, right? Like true one-on-one, better guy goes out there and essentially wins. I want to kick your ass. Those type of things, right? And we in that as well, in that footage, in that mic'd up clip, we also got some, Adam Butler on one play tosses Andre James, and you can see it clear as day in that clip. I have that video in the works. Might not put it out right away. I might actually put it out tomorrow morning. If you guys don't know this, the Raiders practice tomorrow is at 6 p.m. So because Raiders practice tomorrow is at 6 p.m., I might actually make that video and drop that video tomorrow morning. And then I might even just end up going live if there's any legit updates coming out of the Raiders camp, or I might just come back on Sunday. We'll see what ends up happening. Keep in mind the Raiders are off on Sunday. They'll practice. They had their practice today. They'll have another practice tomorrow. And then they're off on Sunday, and then they'll have 3 straight practices, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's switch focus, man. So if you guys did not know, if you guys haven't heard this, right? If you've been essentially living under a rock, you guys would have missed the fact that DJ Glaze stepped in for Thayer Munford when Munford went down. He went up against Maxx Crosby, and everybody's saying that essentially DJ Glaze held his own against Maxx Crosby. Even Tom Telesco said something similar. He said this today. He said DJ Glaze held his own against Maxx Crosby, and he's coming along a little faster than I anticipated. And not only did Tom Telesco put this out there today, but Antonio Pierce before practice was also asked a little bit about DJ Glaze. Check out what he had to say.
Up in a big way. I mean, didn't blink, didn't flinch. Munford went down and he popped in there. And first rep against Maxx. Okay, that's always going to be tough. But as the practice went on, you just saw a guy growing. But forget Tuesday. Since he's gotten here, he's just been steady. He's been consistent in everything he's done. his approach to the game. He's taking it like a pro. He's learning from some of those veterans that we have in front of him. Doesn't say a lot, but he's out here working there each and every day, and he gives his best foot forward each and every day. You see growth and improvement. What does that translate onto the field? We'll still find out, but I think you have to be excited about where he's going and just his approach.
Now, what's interesting about all these people talking about DJ Glaze is I made a short. I said the same thing. We had a bunch of people write articles and saying the same thing. DJ Glaze is apparently having a little bit of success, and Maxx Crosby heard it, man. Apparently, Crosby took reports of Glaze holding his own against him personally, a couple of sacks, followed by yelling at the media tent. So Vic Tafer is putting it out there that essentially Maxx Crosby heard all the reports, and he took it personal. He wanted to come out here and he wanted to let everybody know that DJ Glaze is still a rookie at the end of the day. Maxx Crosby's a phenomenal player, man. I don't know how else to say it. Maxx Crosby, to me, is going to be one of the best players in the NFL this year, but he's going to get credit for it, right? Because he doesn't get the credit he deserves. Maxx Crosby, I think in Madden, when Madden rankings came out, it was like the 5th rated defensive end. Most of us would agree that Maxx Crosby is at least, or no, not at least. Most of us would agree he's the number 2 defensive end in the NFL. At worst, he's like the number 3 guy, right? I think TJ Watt's the only guy that would potentially be ahead of Max for number 2. Obviously, Myles Garrett being number 1. But Maxx Crosby doesn't get that type of respect around the NFL. So this is the year he's going to absolutely crush it. We also got an update on John Jenkins. If you guys don't know, the Raiders, run defender, nose, whatever you want to say. The guy played over 500 snaps last year. He's apparently back at practice today. He was gone for the birth of his child. So we didn't know why John Jenkins was not with the Raiders early on. I was concerned that he may retire. I really thought that, hey, there's a chance John Jenkins is just kind of, off to the side. Maybe he doesn't want to practice at the beginning. Maybe he's thinking about retiring potentially. But apparently that was not the case. So John Jenkins is back. It was because of the birth of his child. So shout out to John Jenkins. He had a child today, or he had a child recently. And he's been out for that, but he is back with the Raiders. Now, in his absence, it's been Byron Young taking a lot of those snaps at the nose position. Adam Butler's also been taking some of those snaps at the nose position. Adam Butler has had a phenomenal camp. And I don't want to underestimate what Adam Butler has done, and I don't want to overlook it. From my understanding, after Maxx Crosby, it's been Adam Butler that's been the second most dominant defensive lineman. He's been more dominant than Christian Wilkins. And that's not saying he's better or anything like that. That just means that the guy that I spoke to says that he noticed Adam Butler more than Christian Wilkins. And again, that doesn't mean anything, right? That could just mean something like, if Adam Butler's playing nose and he's having success against Andre James as opposed to Christian Wilkins is going up against a mixture of Munford and Parham as well as Pete and Cody Whitehair. It could just mean those 4 offensive linemen are better than Andre James, right? It could just mean that the scheme favors, it allows noses to make a little bit more plays than like the 3-tech or the 4-eye technique. But Adam Butler has been having a phenomenal camp, and to me, that's phenomenal news to hear. Butler had his presser today, and he said that he doesn't want to only be a third down player anymore. He doesn't want to be recognized as the guy that's only a pass rusher. He wants to get recognized as a guy that can play on first downs, on second downs. And what's interesting about Butler's tape last year is Butler is really, really good against the run. Now, he might not be great at holding double team blocks, but if he's in single one-on-one situations, unless you're trying to backside cut him off, he's not going to let you do that. He'll jump the gap. Now, let's say you're trying to, maybe angle block on him, or maybe it's a down block on him. He sees that and he swims over it, right? He uses his quickness the same way Maxx Crosby does to defend the run. And I think in today's NFL, you can put those guys in certain situations that let them have success. It lets them actually go out and beat guys as long as they're not lined up at nose, right? Where it's easier to double team and those type of things. But Adam Butler's been having a really, really good camp. Lastly, Byron Young, man, did his presser as well, and he said some very, very interesting things. Like I don't want to show you guys what he said. If you guys want to go check it out. But he said 2 things specifically that really stood out to me. The first thing that he said was that he spent most of his offseason in Vegas, while others, kind of went home and they went back to where they live, family, and those type of things. Byron Young said he did not do any of that. Instead, he stayed in Vegas, and he put the work in this offseason. He worked with a nutritionist. He worked with a specialist, right, a coach that specializes. I'm not sure if that's the Raiders specialist or if he hired someone, I'd assume it's the Raiders specialist that he's working with. If you guys don't know, the Raiders have a pass rushing specialist. I don't know if he's officially on the payroll or how that works. He is officially on the payroll, but I don't think you can find him through the website, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But Byron Young has worked with this guy, and the guy apparently has looked better, and we've heard the reports. We've heard that Byron Young has been standing out, and he's been having a little bit more success. And even he feels it, right? He feels like he's having more success. He feels he's looking better. And he said today that people have been telling him that you look better, right? You're performing better, you're playing better. And this is great news because Byron Young was a third-round pick last year, and I basically had written him off up until about a week ago. When we started hearing this guy's taking snaps to the first team unit, he's actually standing out. In fact, I thought there was a chance he would get cut if he didn't take a major leap this year, and apparently he's taken that leap. Now, Byron Young did say something else in his presser. He said that being drafted, he felt like he was owed, right? Something was owed to him, all right, because he was drafted. He said that wasn't the case. So I don't deserve anything. I have to come in and work every day. Byron Young had a humbling experience last year because Byron Young knows he was a healthy scratch for a big portion of last year. And he understands exactly what happened. And, he came in with this mindset that because he was drafted, something was owed to him. And he realized quickly that's not the case. He realized quickly that he has to go out there and actually prove it. He has to actually go have success. And I love the fact that this guy had that humbling experience in his rookie year. He put the effort in going into the offseason. And he looks a lot better this year, man. And I'm excited to see what Byron Young can actually be this year for the Raiders. Because he's kind of that wild card. We have Christian Wilkins. We have John Jenkins. We have Adam Butler. Those are going to be our three primary guys. But what if Byron Young ends up being better than all three of those guys? Literally, what if Byron Young ends up being better than Christian Wilkins? Right? Now, he might not be better than Christian Wilkins. What if he's better than the other two guys, right? And to me, there's just a lot of upside with Byron Young, and he's a guy we're not really thinking about at this point, right? We're not considering him a part of the rotation, but, never say never in developing, and I do hope to see some big things for Byron Young. I don't think there's any guy I'm more excited to watch in the preseason than Byron Young, right? Just to be 100% honest, you guys, I don't even care about the quarterbacks all that much, right? I'm not a quarterback guy. I can't tell you guys if I can't tell you what the quarterbacks are reading in every single play. Sure, we can watch the highlights. We can figure it out if the quarterback looks good or not, right? We all know C.J. Stroud's legit. We all know, Russell Wilson sucks. But, I can't tell you what the play call is and what the reads actually are, right? I don't study quarterbacks. I've never studied quarterbacks. But I've studied O-line and I've studied D-line, and I can tell you guys well before other people will that Darnell Wright's going to be a superstar in the NFL. I can tell you guys like Samuel Cosmi will be a superstar offensive lineman in the NFL one day, and I think some people are calling him an all-pro player at this point. Tyler Smith, I can tell you this guy's going to be great. I can tell you guys ahead of time, Tyler Guyton will be a great football player, right? And I can tell you guys those things because I study those positions. I feel a lot more comfortable with those positions. So there's no one I'm more excited to watch than Byron Young. I hope the guy has a lot of success. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. All right, a lot different. I didn't want to make it all fast-paced, and I kind of want to just sit back and talk. I enjoy these type of videos more, and I also been enjoying a lot of live videos. So I went live a couple times the past couple of weeks, so I might go live tomorrow, as I mentioned earlier. Let me know what you guys think, man. I'm excited for the Raiders. A lot of good things coming up. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.